Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Herculean Homeschooling. I'm Sarah, homeschool mama of 6, and today I am doing a review of BookShark's Health and Human Anatomy. It is their new science level that just launched last year, and a shout out to BookShark for sending me this level in exchange for my honest opinion and reviews. And I'm really excited to review this for you guys. It looks like this. Okay, full disclosure, we used this program over this past year. We've done 2 moves since then, and for some reason, I lost the cover of my instructor guide. So I can't hold that up to show y'all. So that's why you get this little picture here from their website of what the Health and Human Anatomy looks like on the cover. But I can't wait to talk about each of the different books that are in this program, along with the experiments, the instructor guide, all of it. I first want to jump in to all the books that BookShark has included in this level. There are 8 different books, so I'm going to show y'all each one of them and talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, how it worked for our family throughout this past year. And then I will show you the instructor guide and what that looks like, and again, pros and cons of the overall program. What I would consider the main spine of this book is this Ultimate Bodypedia. This book we actually really liked. It's hardcover with a nice dust jacket on it and these beautiful pictures. I'm not even like pre-looking at what I'm opening up to, but you can see all the great pictures, really fun information, and I love that it was like short chunks that were manageable. So we use this program with 5 of my 6 kids, and ranging in ages 9 up to 17. So we did use this for elementary, middle, and high school, this level. If you've been following my channel, you know that we like to do family style homeschooling for science and history. And so this level fit perfectly with that. So each week it would have like 2 or 3 pages from this book that we would read. And that would be including like these beautiful picture pages with this kind of information on there. So like you started about the skeleton and learned about the different bones. And then as you're reading the book, there are different questions. So I'll show you guys what those look like after I show you the books. So this was a great book. You do take all 36 weeks to read through it, and you'll take breaks every now and then as you read some other books, but this is one that's going to last all year, and we were always excited when we came back to this book. Again, great information, really engaging for all of my kiddos with their various ages, beautiful pictures by National Geographic Kids. The only thing that I think would make this book even the slightest bit better is if it had internet links to different videos or more information, so that if the kids really loved something, they could go deeper and it's automatically like easy to find. So highly recommend this book. The next book on the book list for this level is this Food and Nutrition for Every Kid. This one, it tended to be day 4 with the typical BookShark schedules, days 1 through 3. You learn about a concept. Day 4 is an experiment about that concept. So this level is a little different from that, because this tended to be day 4 and you would like read 1 chapter, and then I guess there's an experiment that you could do. We would just kind of look at the pictures and didn't really do the experiment. And so my kids, I think they were kind of missing that this year. We just didn't do nearly as many experiments as we typically do. And it just felt a little different. This book has a copyright of 1999. And that's probably my biggest complaint with this book, is that there were parts of it that are 25 plus years old, and so some of the information isn't as accurate. With BookShark just launching this level last year, 2025, it kind of surprises me that they're using a book that's from the 90s, just because with our health and information and what we know, we definitely know more now than we did 25 plus years ago. So the book does reference like the food pyramid. I mean, it's right there on the cover, and we don't use the food pyramid anymore with all those grains that we need to build everything on. So there were some things like that in here that I just felt like were a little outdated. So I would love for them to update this book to just be a more current book. but the information was good. My kids didn't absolutely love it. They weren't excited to read it like they were the Ultimate Bodypedia book. So it wasn't our favorite, but it did have some good information. You could tell she's very knowledgeable and she really wanted to share all of her knowledge with you. So it did get a little wordy, I felt like, in some ways, and the way she explains things wasn't my favorite. So not my favorite book, kind of a bummer that we were reading it every week, but not a hard read or anything. So it was okay. I'll just show you a couple of the pages in here. Not super exciting, but again, not difficult. There's that food pyramid. So do with that what you will. The next on the book list is this Lyrical Life Science. When I got this last year, they were still doing these physical copies with the CD for the 10 people in America that still use CDs. They have updated, BookShark has updated to now it's a digital version of the songs. And I even believe like the workbook and book are digital copies too. So you won't get physical copies anymore. But you know what? I think we opened this once, like barely used it. And in the schedule, it has like one song for the week. I think we tried listening to the song the first week. It was super cheesy, and maybe it would be helpful. I tried to be excited about it. I tried to get my kids excited about it. They were not. It even gives you the music so that you too can play and sing this song. I appreciate that BookShark included music and a different way because we do have all different types of learners. So I think that is a cool idea. I just don't know that it was integrated well with just having like one song a week and there was no like helpful instruction as to what to do with that song. Or, I mean, I guess there was the workbook to go with it, but we didn't use this. After reading the Bodypedia, a lot of the songs did correlate. So as you're learning about the skeleton that first week, it does have a song about the bones in the body and the skeleton. So I guess it is integrated in that way. I just didn't see, there wasn't a lot of information for me as the instructor of how to effectively use the Lyrical Life Science as part of this whole program. And so that could just be, you know, skill issue on my part of I didn't do it the right way. I just didn't really get the need for it really. And so we didn't really do it. The next book on their book list, Understanding Your Brain. This is an Usborne book, which I just love all of Usborne books. So naturally gonna like this one. Really informative. It talked about a lot of really cool things. So my kids did really like this. I do think it would have been awesome, you know, like those head coverings, like where you can make a brain that you put on your head and see the different areas. I think it'd be really cool if BookShark added something like that to just kind of make this be a little bit more hands-on. I guess I could obviously figure that out on my own and put it in, but when it's a boxed curriculum, I don't want to have to do that extra work. That's what I'm paying y'all to do, right? So I would really like it to have that more hands-on side of getting to make something about your brain to go along with this book. But it's a good book. It just took like, I think it was over 2 weeks that we read through this and learned a lot about our brains. The next book is another Usborne book, The Introduction to Genes and DNA. Another really beautiful book with great pictures. A lot of really cool information. This is my favorite page in the whole book. These featherless chickens, crazy. Anyway, we got to talk a lot about genetically modified things. It seemed to be a big topic in this book and created some fantastic discussions. It was really interesting to talk about, is it a good idea? Is it not to genetically modify things? So I think this book inspired the best conversations that I got to have with my kids, and really, really fascinating. Next up, looks like a really awesome book, doesn't it? Awesome Human Body Science Experiments for Kids. So, looks really cool. All these different experiments. which I talked about earlier, it didn't feel like we did as many experiments. Here's my issue. In the BookShark's schedule, it doesn't use this at all for like 20 plus weeks. So more than half your school year, you're not even using this. And then all of a sudden, this book turns up and it has like 8 different experiments in a week. I don't know about you guys. I am not doing 8 different experiments with my kids. And especially because there's not that really awesome discover and do box that has your experiment pieces. Like I have to go get all the experiment pieces myself. They don't have that box with the parts and pieces for this particular level. And so we didn't do a single experiment from this. I'm not sure if the idea was to give like this whole range of experiments and pick 1 or 2 that you want to do with your family, or why they would have so many in a single week all of a sudden when instead of like 1 a week going through. So I'm not sure the thought process behind that. Not my favorite, the way that that is set up, but it is a cool resource that we could make some really fun things. I think a co-op class or something, I could do that with students and already have the idea of what to do for each of the body systems. And so again, this is another one I feel like could have been integrated better with the material. So as you're learning about the skeletal systems, then have that experiment with all the pieces provided in like making the hand, or when you're learning about muscles, doing this leg experiment. I think that would be kind of cool. So I just wish it was more integrated throughout the program instead of all at once. The last 2 books from the book list are Girl Talk and Guy Talk. You do get both of them with the set. I have boys and girls, and so it was really nice to have both. The schedule has it set up where you will only read one or the other depending on what gender your child is. The activity sheets that correlate with it can be used interchangeably. So I read this one with my girls, then my 3 boys did this one, and then we went and answered the questions. These Girl and Guy Talk, they have very similar topics in both of them, all cartoons and stuff. You do the whole book in a week. That's all you get on it. So, and I knew that because the scope and sequence that you can find online. And so I knew that there was only going to be about a week, maybe 2, pretty sure it's just 1 week to go over both of these books, which I just felt like we were really rushing through that. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do the health and human anatomy, was because I do have, a 9, 11 to 13, these kids that are going into that puberty and bodies changing kind of level. So I was hoping that we would spend more time on that, and we didn't. It was just a week. So the books I think are fine. It did create some good conversations with my kids. It definitely embarrassed my boys specifically, and that's awesome. Those are the 8 books that are part of this level. Let me show y'all the activity sheets. These are the activity sheets. These are truly the ones that my family used. Obviously, we choose in our family to do 1 set of activity sheets for the whole family, and we take turns of who's writing and who's answering questions. So they do sell on the BookShark website extra activity sheets. So if you want your kiddos to have their own to be able to fill out, then you can definitely do it that way as well. So just as they're doing each of their readings, they have these questions that they will be filling out. And I really like the variety of the questions. You can see there's fill in the blank, there's labeling the picture, what everything is. It actually kind of became a running joke in our family of who had to fill out the picture and know what all the parts and pieces were. There's true and false. There's writing it in like the whole line, and that is one way that you can scaffold it for your different learners. People will ask me how I do the same science for all my kids. So my older ones would have to write this in a complete sentence. The younger ones can just do a couple words, and then you have like your matching, your different graphs. There's so many different ways that they're asking questions and doing these activity sheets, which I think is really awesome how they set that up. Next is looking at the instructor guide. So this is what I call the Big Mama. It's the big BookShark binder, and then it has all 36 weeks here so you can separate them. I do put all of my instructor guides together from history, language arts, and science. Science I usually have in the back. So if you follow my channel at all, this is my favorite part of BookShark is the schedule. All the lesson plans are already done. So I don't care what level it is, I will always love the schedule. With this review, of course, I'm going to say really positive things about the schedule. So it's so easy. You have your 4 days at the top, and then your book list of activities on the left-hand side, and then it tells you exactly what pages you're going to read each day with the accompanying activity sheets each day. See, here's that lyrical life science, like, okay, introduction to the human body. And that's all it has for that. Like, I don't know what to do with that. The supplies here are for your experiment for this week, and then the shopping planning list. So that is what you're going to need next week. So I do really love that they include this. That way I have plenty of time to get ready for next week. I also love that nothing is dated. So if we only got 2 days done that week, well, next week we'll just pick it up on day 3 and then go from there. And so I just will rant and rave about this instructor guide every time. Okay, looking at this week 2, same type of setup. And then I'll turn the page so you guys can see what the rest looks like. I mean, it gives you some breakdowns about how to do all the things. Notice there's nothing about that lyrical life science, so still not sure what to do with that other than listen to the song, I guess. And it also has the activity sheets that the kiddos are doing. It has all the answers. So that way it's really easy for them to do the sheets. Then you grab it, check it out, and you have your answer sheet to compare it to. So overall thoughts and feelings, I am so glad that we did this level this year. I think we learned a lot about our bodies, not just how we're changing as we're changing from a child to an adult, but also just how our bodies work, the different systems inside of there, different types of books. Thought it was really well done. I also did really appreciate, in a lot of ways, a year of not so many experiments. And while my kids are missing the experiments, it was kind of nice to not have to do all of that every week. And so I really did like that aspect of it. I feel like we could have absolutely used more videos. It would be really cool to have those linked somewhere so that we could see it in a different way instead of just reading about it every week. I would have liked to see more hands-on, like having those experiments from this book be integrated more throughout the year instead of all at once. But I loved the variety of the activity sheet questions. I love the schedule, that I get the answers for the activity sheet questions, that it's so easy for me as the parent instructor, and the kids learned a ton. And so did I, honestly. I would absolutely recommend this Health and Human Anatomy level from BookShark. It's set to be ages 10 to 13. I used it 9 to 17, and so you can definitely make it work for your family no matter what their age, and they're going to be learning along the way. If you're interested in this level, check out that description box. I have my link there. So you can go right to the website and find this level and see the different options you have. I would love for you to give this video a like, as well as subscribe. You can click my picture right there. And please comment down below and let me know which book stood out to you the most. And if you know of a book that is talking about that puberty and going through puberty for your kids, I would love to hear it, because I definitely need some recommendations. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.